Okay, so imagine this. It's March 2019. Hot day, bustling city, Rewari in India. And you've got Vijay Sethi, he's the CIO and head of HR for Hero MotoCorp Limited, sitting down with his CSR team,
Right.
corporate social responsibility. And they're grappling with this huge question, It's corporate, sure, but it's also deeply human. How do you really empower women and girls in a society as, well, complex as
A
India's?
massive undertaking.
Exactly. And that's our focus for this deep dive today. We're looking at the CSR work of Hero MotoCorp HMCL. They're India's biggest two-wheeler company. And specifically, their big push on women's empowerment.
Yeah, and to really get our heads around HMCL's approach, what worked, what didn't, the huge societal hurdles they're still dealing with, we've gathered quite a bit of material for you. We're talking company reports, their own documents, but also independent research, studies from places like the Indian School of Business, government policies too. It's a pretty rich mix.
So our mission then is to really unpack how a big company like this tries to navigate these deep societal issues through its CSR. We want to pull out the key nuggets for you and maybe uncover some surprising things about what it actually takes to drive real change.
Absolutely. It's rarely straightforward.
Okay, let's dive in. So back in March 2019, when Vijay Sethi had that meeting, there was this persistent problem, right? Even with their efforts, lots of women just didn't have the opportunities or the family support, frankly, to earn money or start a business.
Yeah, that was the core issue. And it wasn't just, an HMCL problem. It really reflected these bigger national challenges.
So what exactly were they up against? What was the backdrop?
Well, you're hitting on something crucial there.
Yeah.
What HMCL was trying with its Tejaswini program, which, by the way, means radiating energy, quite fitting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was really plugged into three big national things happening in India. First, the government's Skill India initiative, big push on workforce skills. Second, the Beti Bachao, Beti Patao, Save the Girl Child, Educate the Girl Child initiative, really major effort to support women and girls.
Right. Heard of that one.
And third, just the country's huge industrial gender gap. A lot of big manufacturers, HMCL included, were trying to figure out how to tackle that.
That's quite a mix of national drivers. But, how effective can government pushes be when you're up against these, really deep cultural things the sources talk about? And these roots go way back, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. They run incredibly deep. What we found in the research is that in many parts of India, there's just this strong expectation that daughters will focus on the home, not necessarily pursue work outside. It's a powerful societal norm that, policy doesn't always easily change. And the national data, well, it really paints a stark picture for you. India was ranked 127th on the UN's Gender Inequality Index.
Wow, 127th. That's low.
It is, and the stats get even more sobering when you dig in.
Like what?
Well, between 2010 and 2017, only about 11.6% of parliamentary seats were held by women. Education-wise, just 39% of women get a secondary education. Compare that to over 63% for men.
Big gap.
Huge gap. But maybe the most striking thing, the one that really jumped out at me, was the female labor force participation rate. It actually dropped. Yeah, from a peak of around 37% in 2005 down to just under 27% in 2018.
Wow.
To give you some context, that's the lowest in the G20, except for Saudi Arabia. The global average is closer to 49%.
That really shows how deep this goes. It's not just about economics, is it? It's cultural, it's historical.
Exactly.
When you look at the causes, it gets clearer why it's so persistent. The sources talk about this pervasive patriarchal system, even pointing to ancient teachings like Manu's ideas about women needing male custody.
Right. Those historical influences still cast a long shadow.
And how does that bias play out today beyond just job opportunities?
Well, a big one is unpaid work. Women in India end up doing about 2.6 times more unpaid care and domestic work than men.
2.6 times.
Yeah. That obviously eats into time and energy for paid work. And then you've got the dowry system, where gifts go to the groom's family. This often makes girls seem like a financial burden, meaning families might invest less in their education, their future. Just keeps this cycle going.
Okay, so you have these huge systemic barriers. But then the sources found something kind of counterintuitive about vocational training, didn't they? What happens when women do get those chances?
Yeah, this is where it gets really fascinating. Despite everything we just talked about, the studies show that when women are given vocational training, they actually tend to outperform men.
Outperform them.
in
How?
things like getting certified, in their grades during training, and even in employment abilities afterwards. And what's more, they're way more likely to go into self-employment,
Hmm.
like 23% of women compared to only about 7% of men.
That's incredible. So the drive, the capability, it's clearly there.
Absolutely.
But then we hit that catch, right? The
Yeah,
caveat.
exactly. The big but. Even with that proven capability, that entrepreneurial spirit, men still end up earning roughly 17% more on average across all types of work.
Ah,
So the real takeaway isn't just that women can do it. It's that their ability doesn't automatically overcome these deep systemic biases when it comes to actual earnings and reward.
that is powerful and, yeah, frustrating. So, okay, facing all this, how did a giant company like HMCL actually decide to step in? Where did this CSR commitment even start for them?
Well, it really came from the top, from their founder, Brahmohan Lal Munjal. He had this famous quote, something like, "We must give back to the society from whose resources we generate wealth."
A clear philosophy then.
Very clear. And they put their money where their mouth was. In the 2018-19 financial year, HMCL spent over 1 billion rupees on CSR.
$1 billion. That's serious investment.
It is. It worked out to about 2% of their average profits over the previous 3 years. And importantly, that lines up with India's Companies Act from 2013, which actually mandates CSR spending for big companies like them.
Right, the 2% rule. And just to give you a sense of Hero MotoCorp's scale, again, this isn't a small player. They've got, 51% market share in India. Biggest two-wheeler company, capacity for 9 million bikes a year.
Huge. And they're global now too, right? Something like 37 countries.
Yeah, Asia, Africa, South America. So their potential impact is just immense.
And their whole CSR effort is branded Hero We Care. The vision is, greener, safer, more equitable world. They've got 6 main programs covering things like safe riding, Hamari Pari, which means our angel, focusing on girls.
Nice names.
Yeah. Educate to Empower, Happy Earth, Community Care, DigiAware. What's also really interesting is how many employees get involved as volunteers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently driven by their own pride in the company
Yeah.
and maybe feeling their own economic situation has improved, so they want to give back too.
That's great. And it's not just outward-facing stuff, right? They also worked on their own internal diversity.
They did. They made a point of increasing gender diversity inside HMCL. It went from only 2% in 2017 up to nearly 7%, 6.67% by 2019. So trying to practice what they preach, essentially.
Good to see. Okay, so we've got the big picture strategy. Let's really dive into the core programs for women now. Tejaswini and Javika. Tejaswini started focused on the factory floor.
Yeah, initially it was about gender equality and getting more women into manufacturing roles on the shop floor, but they quickly saw it could be broader.
How so?
They expanded it to help women start their own businesses too. And that's really where Jivika, meaning livelihood, comes in strongly.
Okay, Javika.
This program offers skills training in a really diverse set of areas. You've got the expected things like beauty care, garment making, sales, but also training in fields usually dominated by men, like fixing motorcycles, auto mechanics, plus essential computer skills. It's quite a range.
And the results, the numbers look pretty impressive in the sources.
They really do. The data shows, just in Haryana through these projects, over 30,000 women got training on entrepreneurship opportunities.
30,000.
Yeah. And out of those, nearly 2,194 to be exact, actually went on to start their own businesses.
That's significant follow-through.
It is. And they also trained over 3,000 girls to ride two-wheelers. Think about the independence that gives someone in a rural area.
Huge, absolutely.
Overall, Javika trained more than 19,000 people in total, and over 60% of them either got jobs or became entrepreneurs.
So what did that mean financially for these women?
Well, the analysis suggests part-time work could bring in maybe 3,000 to 5,000 rupees a month.
Okay.
But women trained in digital skills and English, they could potentially earn up to 25,000 rupees a month.
Big difference.
Massive difference. And for the entrepreneurs, the average seemed to be around 20,000 to 25,000 rupees a month. HMCL even calculated a kind of social return on investment.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
They estimated that every 1 rupee they invested in Javika generated about 1.50 rupees in better economic well-being and social status for the women involved.
That's a compelling figure. But, okay, the money sounds good, the skills sound good. But going back to those cultural barriers you mentioned, the family resistance, how did that actually play out on the ground? What were the hidden challenges the sources talk about?
Yeah, that's the crucial question, isn't it? Sustainability. The sources are pretty clear that there was significant pushback. Women faced resistance from husbands, from family members, especially when they wanted to start a business. Huge cultural difficulties, especially in a place like Haryana where the project started, which is known for being quite male-dominated. Even men who might intellectually agree that women earning is good often didn't act on it because the bias is just so ingrained.
So how did HMCL try to deal with that very personal, family-level resistance?
They had specific strategies, a lot of community outreach, trying to talk directly to family members about the benefits. Partnering with local NGOs who were already trusted in the community was key.
Right, using local knowledge.
Exactly. But there was another interesting hurdle, too. Some women actually avoided the higher-level skills training the stuff with better earning potential.
Why?
Because they were afraid of losing the small income they already had while they were doing the longer training course, even though the future payoff was bigger.
The immediate survival need. That makes sense, sadly.
It just shows the kind of pressures many were under.
Okay, so despite challenges, these programs clearly had real impact. And the sources bring this to life with some individual stories, which are always powerful.
Yeah, these really put a human face on the data.
Let's talk about Anita first. She's 18, from Sonpat in Haryana. Her family, farm laborers, really struggled financially. She was bright, but higher education just wasn't an option.
Right.
But then she heard about HMCL's computer and English training. Never even seen a computer before.
Wow.
But she went for it, did the 2-month course, did really well, and ended up getting a job with a financial tech company, earning 18,000 rupees a month.
No, it's life-changing.
Totally life-changing for her and her family. Just completely alters their path.
And then there's Pinky's story. She's 24, from Rewari. Loved sewing, but had to leave school early, married at 18, homemaker, no income.
Familiar story for many.
Very. But she heard about HMCL's entrepreneurship training. She managed to convince her husband, get this, to invest 2,000 rupees to fix her old sewing machine.
Okay, small seed money.
Tiny. But she started her stitching and embroidery business in August 2018. By the time the report was written, she'd already given him back 15,000 rupees.
15,000 from 2,000, that's amazing.
It's not just the money, right? It's proving yourself, changing the dynamic.
Absolutely. And one more, Tulsi. She's 42, co-owner of Mati, a handmade snack business near Jujhar.
Maddie, okay.
And what's cool is they use local ingredients like bajra and makhana, and they even partnered with IIT Delhi, the Indian Institute of Technology, to develop their business model.
Oh, that's serious ambition, partnering with IIT.
Right, but they still face local marketing challenges, people thinking, oh, we can just make these snacks at home.
Yeah, the value perception issue.
Exactly, but Tulsi's determined. She wants to bring more women into the business, train them, help them earn.
You know, if you step back and connect these stories, Anita, Pinky, Tulsi, to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
they really show the tangible difference skills and support can make. But they also kind of hint at that ongoing need for broader societal change beyond just the training itself.
That's so.
Just the sheer grit of these women battling not just economic hardship, but those subtle, pervasive cultural barriers day in, day out. It shows how deep those roots really are.
Which brings us right back to where we started with Vijay Sethi's dilemma. How do you scale this? How do you take these amazing individual successes and make them happen for many, many more women, especially when resources are always limited?
Yeah, and that scaling challenge is made harder by how industry in India often views skills training generally.
What do you mean?
Well, traditional schooling often doesn't provide enough practical, job-ready skills. So companies tend to prefer candidates from specialized skills training places, or they just end up having to do a lot of training themselves. It's a known gap.
Right. And it's not just the technical stuff, is it? The sources mention other skills needed.
Definitely. Soft skills are huge, especially for navigating a professional work environment if you're coming from a very different background. Things like communication, teamwork, and English proficiency often comes up too. Even if the job doesn't strictly require it, it just opens more doors, gives you more options.
So what's the way forward then? Did the research offer solutions?
It did. The Indian School of Business study working with HMCL actually laid out 6 key recommendations specifically to boost female labor force participation. They provide a pretty clear roadmap.
What are they?
1, provide accommodation, places for women to stay during training, especially if they have family duties back home.
Makes sense. Removes a barrier.
2, encourage internet and tech use for finding opportunities and advancing careers. 3, incentivize industries themselves to set up more training centers.
Get companies more involved.
Exactly. 4, make sure that mandated CSR spending is actually being monitored properly that it's effective. 5. Use technology more widely to promote and deliver skills training for women.
Okay.
And finally, 6. Promote secure infrastructure, safe transport, workplaces, especially for women trying to be self-employed.
So what this all really means for you, our listener, is that these recommendations aren't just for HMCL. They offer a blueprint for, well, the whole ecosystem, right? Companies, NGOs, government, anyone trying to drive this kind of change.
Absolutely. And I think this whole deep dive really hammers home that empowering women isn't just about, running a few training courses.
Right.
It takes strategic, long-term investment. It means actively tackling those deep cultural barriers. And it requires supporting women from every angle. Financial literacy, sure, but also that crucial family and community engagement.
We've covered a lot of ground today. From those huge societal challenges facing women in India down to the specific, pretty impactful CSR work of Hero MotoCorp, and then hearing those incredible stories. Anita, Pinky, Tulsi.
Real transformation.
Real transformation. But even with these impressive efforts and the clear benefits we see, that stubbornly low female labor participation rate in India, it's still this massive, complex puzzle.
It really is.
So maybe the final thought for you to chew on is this. What truly needs to shift at a societal level, beyond what even a committed company can do? What will it take to really dismantle those centuries-old barriers and fully unlock the potential of women in the workforce, not just in India, but really everywhere?